Good evening, everybody, and season 17 is upon us. There will be the same. It's got a strange feeling of deja vu about it tonight. We are Bahrain, exactly the same as last season, starting at Bahrain, but there will be some painful memories of season 16 for a certain Kai Pearson, who won here last season, just a little over 3 months ago. He started on pole, and he won by 2.3 seconds ahead of his then teammate NBR Nick. Though it's not all about Kai, and before I get ahead of myself, it is time to introduce the incredible Joe Visser, man sitting alongside me for the season opener. Joseph, we're in for a good season, I believe.
It is so good to be back in WOR after a few weeks away. A few weeks, which is, of course, leaving the dust settled literally over the incredible season finale we had. And whilst we can put that to one side and look forward to a new season with, yes, many similarities, but there's also so much difference as well. And that, of course, obviously is going to characterise this season from ones gone by.
Definitely will do. And, you know, it will come up, I'm sure, Kai Pearson and his, he's here, he's still racing, and I suppose in the console side of things, he's still doing it on PC as well. But it's good to see him trying to claim that championship, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's one that really got away last season after leading 10 rounds of the championship. So I know how gutted he was. I know how much he still wants to prove himself at the top of console as well as the top of PC, and you cannot fault him for any of the resilience, the commitment he's shown to everything recently.
Definitely, and they're already out on track for qualifying. Every single car is out there. So let's go on board and have a look at some of the action that is happening. And I say that, and everything. There we go. It does want to kick in. You know what? Just quickly, Kai obviously pole last time out. He put a 1:27.427 down. Do you think that could be beaten tonight?
I think so. There's been so much evolution even since 3 months ago with the drivers, with their overall confidence as well. And obviously their setups would have been tweaked a lot since then with everything they've learned from each other and tried to adapt as well. So yeah, I can't see why it won't be beaten. I think a couple of drivers could well better it because it was a close qualifying last season.
It definitely was, and you know what? There's some good names coming back as well. Jerry Van Bussel's back, and Liam Bowman in the Red Bull. No, that Kai Pearson's left. Kai's gone to the sister team of the AlphaTauri, and Matthew Hall in as well. And a driver that, had a great season halfway through coming into for us in a console tier 1 side of thing is Cameron Dowds. What can he do tonight, do you think?
Yeah, Cameron Dowds will want to be up there, fighting at the top, and I know he's very much capable of it. He has started strongly in PSGL, I do believe. I think a podium he took in Belgium, and certainly he wants to be going all the way and winning that championship as well. So he'll have two things going on, really, starting from scratch here in WOR. We've got to remember how we started the Tier 2 campaign last season as well, taking a few wins before he left halfway through the season to join us. He then took his maiden win in Austria. It's a driver full of confidence. And so, like I said, if he can get going tonight, it will be important that he does so because of the 10-round championship. He's going to be there. We've got to consider him all the way through.
And MOBA straight away, a 27.5. That's nearly as close as the pole time last time out. And they haven't had a warm tyre, a worn track, I should say, where it has no track evolution at all. And Kai Pearson, 27.5, well, very close to MOBA. Agonisingly close, some might say, but as we're on board with Macho coming through. So, and reading in the chat, Tier 3 had a 27.4 last night. So, almost guaranteed to beat it, I think.
Yeah, we should be. I didn't check the Tier 3 poll times. I haven't seen the Tier 2 poll time. I know that's already been and gone an hour or so ago now, but yeah, certainly just shows the evolution on the game so far. 3,000ths at the top so far, separating Kai Pearson and F7R MOBA. That was our front row last season, so we do very well to replicate that this evening. 2D makes a Tier 1 return. Matthew Hall makes a Tier 1 return. They're both on row 2 at the moment. Very excited to see what those those two can do. Both very aggressive drivers, really unique style about them. Cameron Dowd slots in third before that's beaten by Scottish compatriot Liam Bowman, who's also, again, hoping to start well. He didn't score in Bahrain last season. If he did, then would have maybe been talking about him right now as a Tier 1 champion, but all those ifs and buts, they can be forgotten about, as we've already mentioned. New beginnings for Liam Bowman also.
And new teammates as well, as Jerry only managing 11th at 27.959. Schumacher's time is quite, I don't know why, I just find that funny, 127.999. I mean, that's possibly what people will be phoning if they saw me on this track in a Tier 1 side of things. But I think Brando's the last driver. Maybe Macho's invalidated his time through. Tom invalidated his time through. Brando's going very, very slowly. So it's going to be Flopman, I think. Let's have a look at Flopman. Made a couple of appearances last season in Tier 1, I should say, and impressed, really.
Yeah, he did. He always does whenever he's called up to the occasion. Of course, a brilliant band behind him at F7R now as well. He is a full-time driver for this season. He's a very good qualifier. He's very good at converting poles into race wins. So if you give him any opportunity to go on and do that, again, he is another driver. Come the end of the race this evening, we might be hailing him as another potential champion. There are so many different factors that are going to play out this season. If Flopman can get near the front of the field on a consistent basis, then he can do what he is very much best at.
And we had I don't want to say a love affair, but we knew how good Joe Murphy was, and we always seemed to, I don't know, I feel like we wanted him to do well, maybe a little bit more than some of the others. He's currently P10. How do you think his season's going to be? And all of a sudden, there's a collision in the pit lane between Tom and Cameron Dowd.
Oh. Civil War at Shazoo. That wasn't on my
bingo card
expectations. My bingo card for season 70, but there we are. It's happened already. A grid penalty within a matter of 8 minutes. But no, back to Joe Murphy. First of all, fantastic achievement getting an automatic qualification for Tier 1 this season. He did so as Tier 2 champion the season before, I do believe, but to then come in and get in that top 5, top 6, of course, when you consider the drivers that have moved on to PC. Yeah, massively consistent season. Good point scoring finishes on a regular basis. Even took a podium, I do believe, at one point in the season as well. If he can match that, even better it, then he's on for another good campaign.
Definitely, and we want every driver to do well. So it'll be really great to see how these 10 rounds are going to happen here in WOR Console Tier 1. Flopman having a really good first sector, and that's purple if it is to be believed, the timer. So we'll have to wait and see how Flopman can continue on through that. It looks like a little bit of a tail slide there at the exit of turn 8. I don't think he used as much as the track as he possibly could do. And he's now heading down this second DRS straight as he heads on into turn 11, trying to clip any sort of slipstream from that Haas in front of him. But I don't think it's worked at all to his liking. And Joseph, we're about halfway through this qualifying session. Who do you think is going to take pole?
Kai Pearson is on for something pretty spectacular in taking 3 consecutive season opening pole positions in crossplay Tier 1. If he can do that, I'd like him to do that. So I am going to stick with Kai Pearson at this moment in time, putting a lot of practice this week. He does very much mean business once again. He's not slacking about with the title. Flopman goes 7th, by the way. 4,000th behind Matthew Hall. A tenth of a second would put him 4th, and he's very close. You saw Lando Norris describing earlier. A tenth is worth about 4 positions. We pretty much say the same about Flopman here this evening.
Definitely. You know what? I'm still shocked by that Kai Pearson stat. That is incredible. I kind of want him to get pole myself now. In the chat, let us know who you think is going to get pole tonight. It'll be great to hear your opinions and anything else that you might wish to say to us in the commentary box tonight. But here is Moba as he heads through what I describe as one of the difficult corners on this track is turn 13, as he takes a massive line off it and has invalidated. But you can get that corner so wrong, and it it really does affect your qualifying or even race at turn 13.
Yeah, it's pretty non-negotiable going out wide there. You try to drift the car through at every corner, so if you just get too much oversteer, you're off the track, you're invalidated. A real make or break corner as well, because you lose time all the way down towards turn 14 and 15. You're thinking about that time lost coming into that final braking zone, and therefore you're quite likely, in fact, to lose even more time than already poor sector 3, because it's only really 2 corners, turn 13 and 14. Either way, Moba did invalidate. He came back into the pit lane. He was semi-impeded going into the final corner. He'd already invalidated at that point, but he did have to take some pretty dramatic avoiding action. I'm not sure who it was sat on the racing line, but that is just another thing we're going to have to look out for as well. Impeding on these laps. Remember PSR Nick last season? He got 2 infringements, didn't he? I think turn 4 and at the final corner as well. He was in some pretty big trouble and took a qualifying ban for it.
Yeah, poor Nick, and not ideal for him. But Liam Bowman now, used to seeing a Red Bull dominating. We've had 2 seasons of 2 Red Bull drivers doing really well, and now Liam Bowman's taken that mantle, and he does. It's pole. It's a 27-2. Liam Bowman is deciding he is going to go for it as well.
That's an F1 23 crossplay tier 1 lap record at Bahrain by almost 1.5 tenths. That is an absolutely incredible lap from Liam Bowman. He wants to insert himself as the pad goat. Moba had a 1v1 with Jarno Opmeer just last week. I'm sure Bowman was laughing at that one a little bit, knowing that he very easily could have had the same opportunity himself, as the best pad players of their 2 respective platforms are bound to go head-to-head for pole position. Shazoo Thomas crossed the line and has gone 4th up to the 2nd row for the Scouser.
Now, back in season 14, Shazoo Tom actually finished 2nd here. So it is a track that he can do well at. He will want to continue that streak as well. I know he didn't have the best of times last time out, and it looks like Cameron Downs is actually going quite slowly there into turn 11. So he's possibly going out, not having a good time on this run. Joe Murphy, I believe, is possibly on a lap. So let's see what Joe Murphy can do as he just exits the track slightly there. But also Rusty, or better known now as Matthew Hall, also won in season 14. So we do have a little bit of pedigree here tonight.
Matthew Hall or Matthew Kettle?
Kettle. Different people. They're both Matthews. All Matthews are the same.
They're all Matthews.
Dear. Where is Matthew Kettle these days anyway? Moving on. Swiftly on. I knew it was a Matthew. Thank you for correcting me, though. Otherwise, I would have looked like I've got massive egg on my face. But Joe Murphy, I think he's going to go into the pits. I don't think this is a lap. So, yeah. Don't know if anyone else is on a lap time. Zorzo maybe could be. Let's see what the Alpine driver is up to. He's 15 seconds off the pace there. Risk is also low on his lap time. I think we got a little bit of a lull with 4.5 minutes remaining.
We do indeed, and that brings me on to Matty's message in the live chat. Go on, Liam, do it for Scotland. He's not the only Scottish driver you can cheer on. Cameron Dowds, currently in P5, another potential season 17 candidate for you. He's the one that actually lives in Scotland. So take your pick there, Matty. Either way, has Liam Bowman got a massive foothold on pole position? I think he does. For Kai Pearson to claw back 2.5 tenths. Moba as well, who is on a flying lap at the moment. He's slightly out of time with everybody else. It may be on a used set of tyres, but no, he's finding time. This looks like a soft, fresh set to me. He's purple in the middle sector, just over a tenth up as he descends down the short hill. Will pick his braking zone now for turn 14, just after the 100-metre board. Bring it in, just touch the curb slightly, and he's off the circuit again. Just what he did at turn 13 on his previous attempt. He's done the same at turn 14. I'm not sure whether he was intending to improve on that lap, but either way, he's coming to the pit lane and will have some more time again if he needs it.
Yeah, he's... I don't want to... Was it Moba that had the issues last season as well? Just pushing the car that much that he did go off the track quite a fair few times. But Yeah, can't say for certain on that one. Gabor is the first car at the moment to go off and set a lap time, but he's going very, very slowly indeed. And I think that Aston Martin behind him might want to get past. He does indeed. I believe that one is Jerry, F7R Jerry. Let's go on board with Jerry as he will be the first man to set a lap time in this final throes of qualifying at season 17's opener. And saying that, he's pulled over, and I think the Mercedes might want to come through. No one wants to set a lap time at the moment.
They're all just playing a few games out there. This is where we often see the grid penalties, of course, come in because everybody is crawling behind each other at snail's pace. But there's a real intent at the moment to warm up these tyres. TTM Stonks, he always has to be first. It's just something I've noticed on this game cycle with him. He's always the first car to set a final flying lap. It just seems right that he's at the front of this train at the moment. We welcome back Stonks, by the way. He returned to Tier 2 in the second half of last season, took a P2 finish and 2 race victories in the 4 races that he did. He took a hiatus to be a bit of a manager, a bit of an engineer in the scene, but he's come back and he's racing at his very best. He's not got a representative lap in so far, but this might be his one and only chance.
Yeah, it'll be good to see what Stonks can do. He's been in Tier 1 in the past as well, so it's good to see him back. It's good to see the names that have come back as well from their hiatuses or however you want to describe it. But he's through Sector 1 now. Up into Turn 4 is where he will look to really make a difference, I think, through this. Everything at the moment is looking quite tidy for him as we've got a couple of penalties coming in for illegal blocking, so the restart will almost guaranteed to happen, unfortunately. So we will have a little bit of a break ourselves in the middle while we wait for the lobby to get reset. But before we get there, we need to find out who's going to get pole. Liam Bowman is sitting pretty at the moment. It's a very good time in comparison to Kai Pearson, but anything can and generally does happen in Formula 1 and WOR. So, Stonks, looking pretty good, but I don't think it's going to be enough to get him into the top 5, but definitely enough to get him outside of 19th place.
About 5 cars on this back straight at the moment. 3 tenths up then for Stonks. Could see him jump up, threatening the top 10 with a good final corner here. Everyone getting out of his way, just the McLaren and the Williams left there, who now round the final corner. 15 seconds left on the clock. TTM Stonks won't take the checkered flag just yet, but he goes up to 15th, having lost a little bit of time in that final sector. On his return to Tier 1, he'll qualify no higher than 15th. NVR Gabor is one of the next cars to cross the line, following Yeri, who's invalidated. So we'll turn our attention back to Gabor. He's not improving too much either. I think he'll be slower on his lap time from last season, which was a 1:27.5, unless there's a pretty big miracle here in the final corner. Gabor up to the line, 27.7. He's lost time on that lap from last season that had him 3rd on the grid.
Kai Pearson improves. It's a 27.3, but it's not enough to claim pole. Mober's on a lap time as well, but he's down in Sector 1. That's not going to be good enough at the moment unless he can pull something into the in the second sector. Who else can we go on board with through all this? Is it going to be Matthew Hall? He's just crossed the line. He's thrown himself into P3. Brando throws himself up. Where is Cameron Dowds in all this? Let's have a look at him. Liam Bowman is on a lap time still. He could go even quicker. He's coming round the final corner now, but I'm going to stay on board with Cameron Dowds as he go round to the final 2 corners. Liam Bowman does not go quicker. Cameron Dowds could go quicker. What's it going to be for the Ferrari man? It's P3 for him. And it's not over yet because Shazoo Tom throws himself into P3.
That's mega from Tom going 3rd at the death. I think Mober is down on his time. He's wide at the final corner. He's backed out of his lap. 6th it will be for him. And that will be everybody bar Quantum, who's gone 4th. Second row start for Quantum. Betters what he did last season. I think he started around the 10th place mark. And that is another great pad lap on display there from Quantum. And that is a brilliant end to qualifying. Lots of positional changes. Liam Bowman almost improving on that phenomenal pole position time. One for his own highlights reel for sure. Kai Pearson joins him on the front row. and that streak is broken. Of the 2 races, the 2 season openers, he'd previously put it on pole in.
Yeah, and he's still up there, though, which says a lot about his character to continue going as well. So we will be getting a restart through all this, but I'm not sure if Tom's restart, because it was a collision in the pit lane. That's going to be an interesting one nonetheless. But it's Liam Bowman on pole in the Red Bull, with AlphaTauri's Kai Pearson in second place, Shizu Tom third, fourth to Quantum, fifth to Cameron Dowds, sixth to Matthew Hall, not Rusty, Moba in seventh, eighth to Brando, Joe Murphy in ninth place, and Elite Risks in 10th. Then we've got Furious, Lou, Tudi, Flopman, Schumacher, Macho, Gabor, Stonks, Zorzo, and Jerry rounding the rest of the grid up. Well then, Liam Bowman, what a way to start the season.
Good, very good for Liam Bowman. I think genuinely he'll be very, very difficult to beat when he starts on pole position. And first race of the season, he's gone all in and set a lap time that has caught a lot of people potentially by surprise. He had his teammate Gabor down by a couple of tenths on his, last season's benchmark. Liam Bowman's done the opposite and bettered it, which is just slightly insane to me. Very good.
I think in the end there was 5 drivers getting above last season's pole time, which is great. But also, whoever got the 1:27.4 in Tier 3, get them in Div 1. They're clearly a great lap time for him if that was the case. But I believe Tier 2 should be finishing very, very shortly because they've got a late safety car. So that's going to be an interesting one there. And if you, hopefully we'll get a couple of the people viewing that one pop into us and say what was happening there, because that would be great to hear. But as we get a restart for all that, that was a closer qualifying than I was expecting for the first round of this season. I don't know why I was expecting Kai to kind of run away with it, but Liam Bowman definitely showing he's in with the shout. And Quantum, what a lap time from the McLaren man.
Yeah, credit to everyone really. I think beyond Liam Bowman, it was just matters of hundredths separating some of the cars there. And what struck me as well is the fact that we have some of our Tier 2 graduates just in and looking pretty confident, getting in on the early pace as well. I think Brando, I should say, formerly Brandox, jumped into P6 at one point. He was on great form at the back end of last season, continues that into this. So, yeah, there's been a real sense of preparation, you feel. It feels like everybody is well geared up to this season. That should hopefully mean some clean racing as well to go with it. It was fairly clean as well last season. Let's not take that away from anybody. But yeah, it's all very close in there.
We haven't got to the race yet, so we can't say. But there doesn't seem to be that, McLaren. There was this McLaren team last season that were so good at working together. Obviously, we haven't seen the race, so we're not sure if there is a team that's like that at the moment here. But it's something that we haven't seen in WR generally on the console side of things. You see it in World, but not so much for you and I when we're in this seat, do we?
No, we don't. And that McLaren team that you're referring to, Sami Shemsi and Enzo Soom, who continue their venture on now into PC, don't they? But we saw it here in Bahrain last season. They sort of had Mubarak in a sandwich at some points. They were double overtaking. It was a very good watch, you have to say, and it really set the tone for the whole season. I've got down in my notes that we could well see about 6 teams similar to that based on esports allegiance. I've got Red Bull as the NVR team. I've got Ferrari as the Shazoo team. I've got TTM as the Mercedes team. I've got BRT as the Alfa Romeo team. I could go on all evening talking about how that might play out. Another thing as well, there are 7 different teams in the top 7 to start this race. There's going to be a lot more independence at the front tonight than maybe what we might have seen previously. So again, look out for that strategically. Yeah,
we'll definitely see something, but what we'll see, still time will tell on that one. As Yeah, we're just getting the lobby reset, guys. We do apologise, but there was that penalty. I'm not sure for Shizou Tom. That was a collision in the pit lane. So, I mean, it will be interesting to see. I am just going to quickly check the Discord chat to see if anything's been sent about that. But
Tom's hosting, so he could just take that off. To be fair,
yeah. So Tom will definitely be starting, but Shizou Tom has kind of this pedigree around this track because he was really strong last season as well. Had some really great racing and race pace. Can we see, a masterclass from the Shizou man tonight?
he's very good when he gets going. He's very good when he doesn't have bad luck. He's very good when the opportunities present themselves, such as in the back end of season 15 in that Brazil race where he just got on the softs and won unbelievably. So yeah, I imagine Shizou Tom to be a threat to many podiums this season. He's often in and out as a reserve as well, but he's got that full-time seat, and he seems very much committed on the on the console side of things as well. He's been doing a lot of PC team events, PC league racing as well. He strikes me as a Liam Bowman sort of, not Liam Bowman, Kai Pearson sort of character, just for the PlayStation variant. So yeah, hopefully Tom does go well.
Yeah, we've got plenty of drivers, and just like in real F1, it's a little bit of unknowns. We know roughly the pace and the evolution of how everyone's gone from the start of the game to now, and we're in the final cycle, I suppose you could say, of F1 23, but people are still finding new and inventive ways of getting faster.
Yeah, they are. I mean, it's that sort of period in the year where we'd usually expect challenges on the way, but I don't think that is going to happen this year. But like you said, we're so close to the end, and with F1 24 so close, then we are seeing drivers just continue to top up on their skill, ready for that rapid adaptation they're going to need for the next game. So expect a lot of development even throughout the season. Expect the best racecraft possible, you'd think, by now. I know there's a real aggression required on the game, but yeah, this should be everyone at their best from now on,
which is going to be great. Can the likes of Liam Bowman and Kai Pearson really take it to that next level, give us something, and maybe who knows, we could have was it a 4-way title fight that we had at the a few weeks ago? Maybe a 5-way this time round. Some of the tier 2 guys are showing no fear, and it's great. You could liken it to football when the youngsters come on and they don't have a fear because they playing up against I don't know, Ronaldo or something like that. They just play their game, and actually it makes them better. Maybe you can correlate that into the WOR tier 1 scene here, and some of the the new blood are just going to show no mercy.
Yeah, indeed. And I'm looking at it this way. There's only 250 points available this season. 25 times 10 for... So I don't think we've got a sprint this season, do we? 25 times 10 races. If anyone even gets over half of that, they've asserted some dominance. So if we do see that dominant character, then yes, we are talking about a very worthy champion. But if we do get a 4 or 5-way title fight, bring it on, because that was absolutely chaotic what we saw at the back end. Everyone was involved, everyone was watching crossplay tier 1, which of course was absolutely incredible. So we'll see.
And just a quick reminder of the console calendar this season as we wait for the lobby to get itself sorted. It's Bahrain, which is obviously this week. And then it's Saudi Arabia, Imola, Azerbaijan, which is great to see that back on the calendar, because that can produce some chaotic races just in itself, which is great to see. Canada, Italy, Monza, China, Austria, Miami, and then Brazil to round out the season. What a way to end a season. We've had some historic seasons ending in Brazil, and I'm sure it's going to be exactly the same again this time as well. But I mean, I'm going to give you plenty of time to answer this one, Joseph, or to think about it. But race victory tonight. Who do you think is going to do it? Chat, let us know as well who you think is going to take victory. It's a first race of the season. Things have changed more than people, I think, more than either of us thought they would as well. The track, or just the evolution of the game cycle itself has changed it. But yeah, I think, a smart bet would be on either of the two championship challengers last season in Liam Bowman and Kai Pearson. But you can't count out any of the others. You've got such great drivers throughout the grid, and some drivers are a little bit more of an unknown. I mean, there's some of the tier 2 drivers which are a little bit of unknown to me that could do some real, like I was saying just a moment ago, some real big showcasing to us tonight. But Joseph, who do you think?
The stats don't lie. When drivers are on pole in real life, in the game, they are highly likely to win around here. And last season it was a breakaway front two, both drivers starting on soft tyres. We're going to have to wait until the grid comes up to confirm what tyres people are starting on. But if Liam Bowman gets away at the front, then I favour him slightly more than I do Kai Pearson, purely based on the fact that that he can get away and break DRS, I think, a little bit more easily than Kai has been able to in the past. I'm going to go with Liam Bowman. I don't want to jinx him based on my my pledge to him last season. I was going to support him in that title finale. Didn't quite go as planned, did it? But round one, hopefully, goes somebody's way.
Definitely. It'll go someone's, and
go somebody's way.
They'll love it or they'll hate it. Who knows? We don't know. But yeah, strategy. Last season, the top two started on softs, which I don't want to say shocked us, but a lot of people opted to start on the hards. And then you're looking at pitting laps 16, 17, no safety car permitting. But the soft runners, they came and pitted on lap 12 and 13. And then the medium runners also pitted lap 13. So that's kind of what we're probably expecting tonight, isn't it?
Yeah, we are. I mean, the softs are a really handy race tyre around here, especially when you get the new sets after a restart. So, again, I think some drivers will be attempting that. Throughout the pack, we saw the softs used. So, even those that feel like they're slightly out of position, I think they'll be making some pretty big gains off the start. But other than that, anything goes. Crispy says it was a great strat. I assume he created that one. I say created, instructed that one from his bedroom pit wall. If he's doing the same tonight, I don't know if he is or not, but we'll see what he's got up his sleeves.
Definitely. It's going to be interesting nonetheless. But yeah, we'll wait and see. 2D, unfortunately, has left the session, so hopefully that won't cause any issues getting them back into the lobby. But yeah, let's talk about someone a little bit maybe different out of the selection that we've already spoken about, I guess, as I can't because we're actually on track and ready to go. Here we are on 5 lights and away we go. 4 season 17, it's underway and Liam Bowman has to defend immediately over to Kai Pearson, and Kai tries to find one which way through, but a McLaren of Quantum's darted up the inside and Kai Pearson is getting swallowed by 2 cars. Shazoo Tom has thrown himself up into P2, but he's only alongside Kai Pearson for the time being, but I think he's got the move done.
I think he has done indeed. That's Shazoo Tom on the soft tyres. Already up into P2. Kai Pearson and, sorry, that was Cameron Dowds there ahead of Quantum. Kai Pearson remains in 3rd place. Mober's up the inside of Joe Murphy. He gets all onto the inside curb. That's causing a concertina effect behind. It's 3 abreast going into turn 8. Oh, I've just seen a car on top. That was an Alfa Romeo on top for an AlphaTauri. Some pretty serious desync on lap 1. I think there's some wider lobby issues at this stage.
Look at that at turn 10 as well. And I've got a strange feeling of deja vu as Tom goes past Liam Bowman in the foreground there. That we had desync problems at this race at the beginning of last season as well. Through the... that was quite literally through Zorzo goes stonks as well. There is some pretty poor stuff going at the moment as yeah, it's just it doesn't look too great at the moment there. But let's go back to the leaders. Cameron Dowd's up into P3. There's 2 soft runners, again like last season. Defensive goes Shazoo Tom as they head down the start, finish straight. Tom then goes back onto the racing line, but there goes Cameron Dowd's up the inside of Liam Bowman. Liam Bowman's been swallowed a little bit by these soft runners. Wow. Oh, a little bit of contact there, and this is probably going to help Shazoo Tom. Shazoo Tom's done his homework for last season, and I think that's going to be absolutely perfect for him.
I think he has. Down the inside goes Cameron Dowds to make it a soft runner 1-2. We're still trying to monitor the issues that's going on so far. 2D is having issues getting in and out of the session. He very recently had to switch back to his old gen Xbox as well, so I think he might be back on a new gen now, but either way, that's not stopping some of the issues that are ongoing at the moment. Apparently there's some wider lag for Xbox drivers, which we aren't quite picking up, possibly due to the fact that we are on Xbox, so it looks a little bit better for us. But hopefully it settles down. 2 or 3 laps in, it does tend to. By the looks of it, we're racing still. We've got our lobby host in the lead, for goodness sake. We've got our lobby host off the track. Shazoo Tom has just gone really wide at turn 11. Bouncing over that outside curb.
And that's given Cameron Dowds maybe that little bit of extra impetus to really go for it. He's chasing him down at the moment, down into turns 14 and 15. It's looking solid at the moment. Kai Pearson desperately trying to hold on to the back of Liam Bowman as well. But look at that, 0.7 of a second between Liam Bowman and Cameron Dowds. Quantum and Matthew Hall getting themselves through it as well. But the fastest man on the track is this man. It's the Ferrari man of Cameron Dowds.
Absolutely, and he has used a little bit less ERS than Shazoo Tom as well, so he wants to be the race leading car, the one to try and drag the pair of them out of the DRS, and here he comes to the right hand side and into the race lead. Cameron Dowds for the first time this evening from 5th on the grid. Halfway through lap 3, he's got the lead of this one as well. That just shows how good of a start the soft tyres can give you. Behind that, 14 drivers, all on the hard tyres. They'll be playing a long DRS train game. They will not want to be interfering with each other and allowing the soft tyre runners to get away. Felt like we said exactly the same thing last season, but that's just the way it runs around here. Patience required. It opens up at around that lap 12, 13 mark, as we discussed from last season.
Yeah, well, time will tell on that one. It's about 10 laps away for Cameron Dowds and Shazoo Tom, but they haven't had the start that Nick and Kai Pearson had last time. They haven't broken that yet. They really need to start maybe working together a little bit. Liam Bowman is being a nuisance and really keeping to the back of them right now. It's a great drive from the Red Bull man at the moment, and he's actually looking like he could have an attack on Shazoo Tom down the start-finish straight.
This is a drive with 90% of his ERS still to play with, and he's burning as well. If he gets past 1 or even 2 of them here, it's a massive bonus. Shazoo Tom defends right, Bowman switch left. He's going to be boxed in, the second of the Scottish drivers here around the outside at turn 1. Shazoo Tom allows him that car's width. There's contact into turn 2. His front right tyre there hitting Shazoo Tom's left side pod. Tom goes off the circuit as Bowman barges his way through. Tom's going to go back up the inside. Is he going to get pinched at that corner? Joe Loke did so earlier today, but that same thing hasn't happened in the bigger Formula 1 cars this evening.
No, and this actually could very well help Cameron Dowds out a little bit as there's contact with Kai Pearson and Shazoo Tom into the hairpin of turn 8, or the slight hairpin of turn 8. But Cameron Dowds, 9/10 of a second in front of Liam Bowman, and Kai Pearson probably doesn't want to attack Liam Bowman as they head on down this second DRS straight.
Yeah, I don't think so, considering they will both want to get past Cameron Dowds as well. That was a lot more aggressive, that second move from Kai Pearson. Again, I don't know the on-board situation of the drivers at the minute and what it's looking like, but yeah, certainly robust and eager to get that one done. Kai Pearson certainly wants to add that to his repertoire this season, just having that bit more aggression that really did cost him a lot of points last season, particularly in that championship finale. He kept asking me to say that he was robbed last season. I'm not going to start that controversial take, but either way, yeah, that was a pretty mean move, to say the least. Moba and Quantum, 2 pad drivers going side by side. Moba pulling to the left-hand side. Quantum's going down the inside of Matthew Hall. This is an important move. Made some good ones last season, did Quantum. Is he going to hold it around the outside at 2? No, he isn't.
It's very, very close together, though. Look at the Alpine, Williams and McLaren. You can barely separate them as they come through. Quantum does have a little bit of a sneak look up at Matthew Hall, but it wasn't happening on that occasion. Let's go back a little bit further up to front. Liam Bowman is agonisingly close to that DRS activation zone of the Ferrari ahead of him. Have the soft tyres being used to their best advantage by both Shizou Tom and Cameron Dowds? I don't think so. Shizou Tom is dropping away from this lead battle, which, oh my goodness, it's really tough to call right now.
Did he use too much ERS too soon? It really did stop him defending for the couple of straights that he was overtaken on by Liam Bowman and then pressured by Kai Pearson. He's now outside of that 1 second, losing subtle amounts of time every single corner, but it adds up over the 15 corners of this Bahrain International Circuit, and he will not have DRS for the start of lap 6. Either way, Cameron Dowds also looking pretty scarce on the battery as well. They've just not quite had that raw pace to be able to pull away as, say, Kai and Nick were able to last season. That means we have a slightly different strategical game. Will Cameron Dowds have to go in earlier than, say, Kai and Nick last season, who had a couple seconds and were still extending at some points throughout that stint as well, that they could just keep going longer on those soft tyres?
It is also interesting to note that Kai Pearson didn't go for that strategy this time around as well. He's decided to go hard. Maybe he knew it was, I don't want to say a one-trick wonder, but it's worked that time, but not so much this time. Shizou Tom is under immense pressure from Matthew Hall behind. I think Matthew Hall might go for the inside of the hairpin. He does have a look at it, but he thinks better of it because he would have been pinched a bit too much there. And as they come on through turns 9 and then turn 10, he gets very close to the back end of the Aston Martin, and I think he's got a better pace at this present moment in time.
Yeah, he definitely does. Look, Tom flashing away, no DRS, but Matthew Hall doesn't commit to going down the inside. I was wondering if maybe Quantum was going to seize that opportunity when both of them were running slower, but I think this could be a double overtake for Quantum down the start-finish straight. Look at Liam Bowman. He is harrying the back of Cameron Dowds at this phase, lifting off the throttle because the slipstream is so powerful down in towards that final corner. Kai Pearson's aware of that as well. Could be a double move for Kai Pearson, but Liam Bowman is certainly going to go for this one. He'll open up the DRS shortly. Kai Pearson bump drafting. Liam Bowman having to lift off the throttle. Then he'll get back on the ERS, still pushing the Red Bull through. It's like NASCAR down the start-finish straight in Bahrain. Matthew Hall's up to 4th. Mober's to the left-hand side. Whilst that battle for P2's going on, trying to look at two things at once. Mober's ahead of Matthew Hall. Quantum's ahead of Tom. Kai Pearson is ahead of Cameron Dowds.
So much going on, and Kai Pearson has finally made that stick. He needed to as well, because I think Liam Bowman may have started using that Ferrari as a little bit of a blocker for him and Kai Pearson. It looking absolutely fantastic season if it's going to be like this throughout. And look at that. Mober is at the head of this second train, you could say now, with Matthew Hall, Quantum and Shizou Tom, Joe Murphy, Flotman, all separated by possibly a piece of paper.
Mober's gone wide at turn 10. That's not going to help their case in catching up to this lead 3 DRS train. Matthew Hall now takes command. Mober was gaining because Cameron Dowds, being that rear of the 3 on the soft tyres, it was always bound to be a little bit slower, and there was always going to be an opportunity for that DRS train to fully combine to what would be the top 19 of this race. Be a harder task now for Matthew Hall now that some of that time has been lost, but it's been a theme of Mober. He's always deep on the brakes. He's always trying to brake as late as possible, but at times he's just got that wrong this evening. Poor Tudi still fighting to get back into the session this evening. You feel his race may be run. Here comes P4 again, F7R Mober. They're going to have to work together now. That gap extended to 2.3 seconds. Mober's late on the brakes. Mober drifting, but I think losing even more time there.
Yeah, I think it's hanging on that 2 seconds at the moment, and Kai Pearson looked like he was going to go for the lead of the race, but decides against it. And in the background there, Shizou Tom. Oh, sorry, no, it's Jerry attacking Elite Risks there and getting past. Shizou Tom is dropping down the order a little bit now and causing another little bit of a bottleneck for Macho, well, between Macho and Flopman as well, but just keeping on board with Matthew Hall, who's they're swapping, Moba and Matthew Hall swapping positions, but not really getting anywhere with the leaders at the moment.
No, not really. They're all fighting for the track position they all want for the pit stop phases, of course. Now, Macho's been overtaken by Yari. That's Aston Martin on Ferrari for P10. Schumacher on Zorzo. It's all happening in this midfield pack at the moment. Schumacher on mediums, which is slightly unorthodox, and don't often see drivers go for that. They often leave that for the best race tyre at the end of the race. But either way, Cameron Dowds has done well, actually, to stay with the front two. He started to charge up his battery again, and you feel that maybe just following these two, who are also in a bit of a management phase of their own, just gives him that confidence, whereas he wouldn't have had that when he was leading the race. Kai Pearson now takes the lead. Matthew Hall's gone for it on Moba, who's again vulnerable without the DRS. Quantum hasn't gone for it down the inside. Kai Pearson has just had a massive slide into turn 2. Liam Bowman's going to have the lead. Cameron Dowds has made it 3 wide. Where on earth has this come from? Cameron Dowds retakes the lead of the race.
Oh, it's going to be tight between him and Liam Bowman as they come on through this. Surely can't go too wide through here. No, they decide better against it. And this is helping Matthew Hall catch. They were 2.9 seconds away at the entry of turn 1. It's now 1.5. All of a sudden, the hard work that I think Cameron Dowds was doing, this isn't helping him.
I don't know. I felt like really he wasn't expecting to make that move. I don't know what happened to Kai Pearson. He just sort of drifted through turn 2. And of course was massively compromised all the way up the straight. Cameron Dowds was sniffing both of them. He just had to make that move, really. So, yeah, he takes command. I don't imagine it will last for too long. Matthew Hall was taken half a second out of the top 3 because of that incident. It's just changed the race a little bit. We don't know how, we don't know why, but it definitely has.
Well, we're heading into lap 10 now, and Cameron Dowds will lead for a couple of yards longer, I think, as Liam Bowman. Does he turn to the inside? He does. He's getting there, and the move has been made for him. Cameron Dowds then has to defend from Kai Pearson, but Kai Pearson doesn't make the move. That's an interesting one for the AlphaTauri driver as they head on down up this second straight, the sector 1 from turn 3 to 4, and Kai Pearson's just not really doing anything at the moment, and the train behind isn't doing anything either. They're not catching again. It looks like they're sort of dropping. When these 3 drivers don't make mistakes, they're pulling away.
Yeah, it's an annoying stagnant gap for Matthew Hall. He knows that he is in touching distance of that DRS, but he also knows that the top 3 are overtaking each other every lap. And I don't think he wants Moba overtaking him too much either, because I think, with all due respect to Moba here, it's just when he's on the brakes, I think that's where that time is lost. And he's, of course, regulating that pace of the whole train behind him.
Yeah, it's looking like Matthew Hall has that ability maybe to bring that gap down, but fighting with Moba is causing the issues to lose time. But Kai Pearson is, I don't know whether he just overheated those hard tyres in that mistake a few laps ago, and it's caused him to have to go into a little bit of a defensive mode. I'm not sure, but Cameron Dowd still yet to pit on those softs. We're probably expecting him to pit in 2 laps' time, but saying that, he's gone for the lead of the race again.
This is good from Cameron Dowds, and this is what I was saying, that the soft tyres, they can last, and they can continue to just be a match for the hard tyres all throughout the first stint. I imagine he'll be pitting soon, possibly from the leads. There'll be no threat of an undercut. Shazoo Tom miles behind in P9, really the only other driver that could potentially do that to him. So yeah, he's got a really good choice over when he pits. He might even decide to go close, if not as long as what we saw Kai do last season, if not try and match what the hard runners are doing, and then go for the mediums at about a similar point in the race. Crispy says it's not good. I know he's going to be a bit more vulnerable towards the end of the race, but is this not a similar boat? Him having more used tyres? He'll be experienced, geared up for that towards the end of the race. Yes, I'm clutching at straws, but yes, I am trying to make sure that this is a third Shizou win in Tier 3, Tier 2 and Tier 1 this week. Just heard that Venom's won Tier 2.
And Venom looked quite good from... I watched the first few laps of Tier 2 just to, get myself in the mood, I guess. I don't know. I suppose it's nothing... anyway, before I go off on a rant. But yeah, Shizou, that would be great for them. Tier 3, 2, 1. Great way to do it. But Liam Bowman looks like he's under pressure from Kai Pearson behind. Kai goes to the inside as they head down the start-finish straight. Moba is going to be attacked by Matthew Hall. But look at that gap again. It's 2.4 seconds. When Moba is in front of Matthew Hall, they slow down. And that's not what that second pack needs. Matthew Hall has brought it back to 1.9 seconds. But I think that's because of the overspeed he had with the DRS and Kai Pearson fighting with Liam Bowman. Cameron Downs, again, though, is doing a really good job. Do you think this lap or next lap?
I'd say he's got to leave it now, hasn't he? But he will be overtaken, I think, down the straight again. So it's whether he wants to suck that up for another time and have that going against him, or just pit from the race lead, which of course is a completely different story. It's a bizarre race, isn't it? I mean, we've got a lead train, we've got a massive pack behind, but whatever's going on there, and it seems like they're battling, they're all DRSing off each other, they can't get close. And again, if that gap stays as it is, it seems like we have a bit of a closed shop for the podium potentially, but yeah, I'm not going to rule anything out because that gap does get close at times.
Matthew Hall, again, 1.9 seconds. It's been 1.9 seconds for the lap. As I say that, it ticks over to 2. But for this second train, this looks like the best thing for it, as we see Cameron Dowds peel into the pits with Kai Pearson and Liam Bowman both following him to get the slipstream as they head on down the start-finish straight. This is where it's going to be really big and important. Quantum getting overtaken by Flotman, and then we get 2 Williams in the top 5, and I've not said that in a while.
Yeah, there's contact there. Flotman move left, I think, to cover across Quantum. This is some robust defending up the hill towards turn 4 as well. I'm not sure if he was trying to get some back on Quantum there. It felt like he may have not had the rights to have his nose up the inside there. Either way, fortunately, they're both still intact in this race. Flotman could have been completely sideways. Miraculously, though, still has DRS to use on his teammate. So, yeah, the closest real excursion to potential collision so far this evening. It's at 13 of 29. Top 16 all on the hard tyres. Cameron Dowd, Shizou, Tom pitting on the same lap. Tom was from 9th. Cameron Dowds was from 1st. But where do they come out when all is said and done in the next few laps?
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting one. Schumacher pitted from his mediums on lap 10 as well. That's a big... I don't know even how to describe that, but he's decided to pit early. Maybe he picked up damage, I'm not sure. Cameron Dowds getting past 2D's AI, I believe, as they head on through Sector 2 and into Sector 3, as we stay on board with Quantum, who is looking quite racy, or was looking quite racy with Flotman, but it looks like it's just settled down a little bit for now. No change in the lead. Moba doesn't go for the move on Matthew Hall, I don't think, into turn 1. No, he thinks better of it on this occasion, but I think Matthew Hall's made a bit of a mistake at turn 1, and the front runners are now 2.6 seconds in front, but Cameron Dowds is really putting on the pressure on his as he's coming through on his first lap, and it's going to be interesting to see how much quicker Cameron Dowds is than everyone else.
My word, it just looks like a practice session at the front, doesn't it, for Liam Bowman and Kai Pearson. Once they've gotten away, and once that, I'm going to say, obstacle in Cameron Dowds on the alternate strategy has been removed, they just get quicker and quicker, don't they? 20.4 seconds off the lead is Cameron Dowds. We'll see how that looks towards the end of the lap, and then we can sort of see how much quicker he is per lap and the work that Kai Pearson and Liam Bowman will have to do. And this is where Crispy is correct. So I completely hand it to him in the live chat. Kai Pearson, Liam Bowman, once they get on those fresh tyres, they're going to be DRSing each other for days. They'll be closed up before you know it. It'll be a very difficult task for Cameron Dowds, as big as his lead might be initially. I'm sure they'll respond to each other and pit on the same lap, because I think that'd be a bit silly if one of them left themselves out to dry. They're not teammates, they're in different cars, but they are very much playing the same game at the moment.
Moba pits. Moba is the first one of the hard runners to pit. Joe Murphy's following suit as well, and Stonks decides that in itself is a bold move. I wasn't expecting pits for these guys for another 2 laps, really. So they want to start throwing some undercuts through all this, and I wonder how these 2 men will react. Kai Pearson and Liam Bowman have swapped positions. There is now a 3.1 second gap between the 2 of them. Cameron Downs is 18.8 seconds behind Kai Pearson. That's going to be very, very interesting to see how that pops down. I think pit stops here are 22 seconds, so he's going to have about 4 seconds if they pit this lap.
Yeah, roughly 50 miles an hour, quite a long straight pit lane here in Bahrain. Whether your usual ones, so to speak. F7R Yeri, the only driver other than Stonks with a 3-second time penalty so far in this race, hanging over their shoulders. Just looking at the wider context of this race, of course. Yeah, so Cameron Dowds, that's come down a few more seconds. It'll be a big gap, don't get me wrong, it was bound to be. That's one of the things you accept when you go onto the hard tyres. Could be around about 5 seconds, as you say. Do they go in on this lap? It was quite a common theme to pit on lap 16 from the hard tyres for the mediums last season, but many did so on 15 as well. They both fake a little bit there to the pit lane. Held my breath, they're not doing it this lap.
But look at behind. There's a train of cars going in as Liam Bowman retakes the lead, and I think that's another penalty for Stonks as well. But there was a train of cars going into the pits. That's interesting. 16.7 seconds now is the gap between the front runners and Cameron Dowds. Cameron Dowds, I mean, you're right. These 2 are going to work together to catch back up. But if that gap is huge, Cameron Dowds might be able to hold some DRS in advantage. I don't know. It's lap 16 of 29, and we've still got more questions than answers right now, which is a great thing to have in your Tier 1 console here at WOR. Let's see. We've only got 7 drivers yet to pit, or 8 if you include Tudi as well, which is who's not had the best of runs of things, unfortunately, tonight. But Yeri is 5 seconds behind these 2, and these 2 are doing a great job of just managing their tyres right now.
Yeah, indeed. Yeri, of course, will be hoping to go a little bit longer, because otherwise he'll just be shuffled to the back of this pack, and there'll be no real sign of many good points for him this evening. Good battling on the exit, I have to say, of the pit lane. Everybody was just coming out side by side there. BRT Lou was one of them. He jumped ahead of Flotman, who emerged from the pit lane. Matthew Hall, fortunately, just in front of that, so he didn't lose any more time. It's an attempt to get closer to that DRS range that was eluding him, and into the pit lane. Lap 16. The podium taking strategy from last season, not the race winning one, as we all know, the Red Bull 1-2. It's Kai Pearson, it's Liam Bowman into the pit lane, and how big is Cameron Dowds' lead going to be?
This is going to be huge. I'm going to stay on board with Liam Bowman, though, because there's also that gap behind with Matthew Hall, who has been overtaken by Moba and Joe Murphy, that we've got to worry about. Will those 2 get involved in this as well? Here comes Joe Murphy and Cameron, oh my goodness, Matthew Hall, sorry, and it's so close. They have got in front, I think. Oh my goodness, I'm reading it and I'm not reading it. Murphy and Matthew, but they're behind. It's all fine. Liam Bowman and Kai Pearson haven't been jumped by Moba, but Moba is very, very close to this one.
That's 3-second gains in 2 laps, isn't it? That is a pretty significant undercut, whichever way you look at it. Someone's got around. TF102D was back in this race. He did manage to take control of his car, but unfortunately, one of the first things we've seen from him this evening is a spin on 16-lap-old medium tyres. Have to feel for him this evening. Could have gone his way, potentially, with a restart if there were some wider desync issues. Those have now been sorted from what we saw on lap 1. So we're clear through to the end. Another obstacle, though, in the way of Liam Bowman and Kai Pearson. Shazoo Tom, who's 5.4 behind Cameron Dowds. It's about 7 seconds to Liam Bowman. That's big.
It's a wonderful strategy call as into the pits goes Macho. I wonder if anyone else is. Yeri, Zorzo, Furious and Gabor yet to pit, I think. Yep, they're not pitting. And there's a lot of hard work for these guys to do. Cameron Dowds kind of has he needs to make the move done. He does, as I'm just seeing what Kai Pearson will do. He has overtaken Liam Bowman, and I wonder how much these two are going to work together to catch. Well, they're catching Shazoo Tom at a rate of knots, so it's going well at this moment in time. But yeah,
what's happened? Sorry, second. I didn't mean to, but hopefully the desync isn't getting to my end, because if so, that would be worrying. I was going to say, Gabor has been overtaken there by Cameron Dowds. And so, yeah, Gabor holding himself out really late. Are we going to see some softs going on for these front guys?
Well, I think you could be right for these guys. They've held out for as long for this long. They could very well go for it. They could also be holding out hope for a safety car. As I'm not 100% sure if Joseph is actually still here. This is a little bit
I think so.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. Gotta love technical issues. Anyway, Jerry and Zorzo decide to pit. Furious, however, does not, as Cameron Dowds pulls away from Gabor. Gabor's desperately holding on to DRS behind, though, so he's going to go for that. But I think it could be time to have a look at Kai Pearson and Shazoo Tom and Liam Bowman as they go 3 wide down the start-finish straight, with Mobo trying to join in as well.
Yeah, indeed. Liam Bowman going through. Here comes Moba to the inside on Shazoo Tom as well. He's lost 3 positions there. Down the start-finish straight, and it's, of course, gutting when you pit early. You think you've got a chance to hold on, and all of a sudden, everybody on the fresher tyres just comes straight past you. Shazoo Tom is going to have to do the defensive work over Matthew Hoare now. This is still a net P5 for him, though. Still some pretty good points to start a season. He's not had historically good starts to seasons gone by. Kai Pearson and Cameron Dowds now separated by 5.4 seconds. That's come down by about 1.5 seconds in 2 laps. And that's with a 4-lap tyre advantage. It's massively significant. Is it going to be enough, though, towards the end of the race? Cameron Dowds will be in that initial graining phase, that first drop-off point. It will start to get better. The cars behind will experience it too, but at the moment, the pressure is on. You can see him getting closer in the rear wing mirrors from all the way down the straight. We've got a yellow flag somewhere. That's for a Mercedes, and it's for Stonks.
Unfortunate for Stonks. Hopefully it's not an issue, and hopefully he can continue. Furious still staying out. He is definitely waiting for a safety car, I think, right now, because he could have thrown on a set of softs. It would have been much nicer. The heavier, the lighter the cars are. Oh, is just a very little bit of a late defence there from Kai Pearson as Liam Bowman goes for it, and he does surely get the move done. But that was a little bit of a twitchy moment. Oh. I've been kicked from the lobby.
So it's not just me. So it's not just me having everything go against them. Let me invite you back. If you're still on the stream, it'll be radio commentary for a couple of moments. But they're in the middle sector, so you're not missing anything. Is all I'm going to say.
Well, that's ideal, absolutely ideal. What we need right now, isn't it? Let's just get the thumbnail back up just for the time being. So there's something. We do apologise, guys, for the technical issue, and not 100% sure what is going on because everything else is working fine. I think there could very well be wider issues with the online servers.
Fine for me for now. It seems like there's no more issues in the lobby at this stage. For those of you that have POV tabs up on a second Chrome tab or whatever, you're in luck at the moment because you can tune in to your favourite driver. No, we're not using the red button, okay? Do not press the red button on your interactive remote. Furious and Gabor have finally come into the pit lane after 20 long laps on those hard tyres. It will be the soft compound for the pair of them. Let's see what progress they make. But some brilliant battles going on. Matthew Hall, Flotman, both overtaking a vulnerable Joe Murphy without the DRS that he had to his name. More wheel banging with Quantum. That's the second time he's been involved with that tonight, and now makes contact with Joe Murphy as well, who got deeply involved in that title battle with his Quantum's MVR teammate Liam Bowman. Quantum now goes up the inside at turn number 4 and does make a clean move in the end. Kai Pearson stayed ahead of Liam Bowman. Moba still slots in behind the two of them. Gap between Cameron Dowds and Kai Pearson, 3 seconds at this current moment. It's lap 21 of 29. Hopefully you're back with us. You've joined the lobby. It's a good sign.
Yeah, it's just got a massive joining session, so hopefully it won't be too long until I've actually joined the lobby. It's just got multiplayer event race Bahrain, so hopefully it won't be too long, guys. I do apologise. We are just about to hopefully get back onto the race screen and see what is happening on with the race at this moment in time.
Yeah, indeed. Coming to the end of lap 21 in the final sector now. Penalty to report. It's Matthew Hall, 3-second time penalty. He's 7th on the track at the moment, involved in that P5 battle with Shizou Tom. And I think he's about to lose P5 here, is Tom. He's got Flotman about a 10th behind him. Liam Bowman's coming for Kai Pearson. He takes P2 away from him. That gap to Cameron Dowds. When the ticker comes up, it's 2.4 seconds. Matthew Hall's ahead of Tom. Matthew Hall's ahead of Flotman, making that double dive bomb to the inside, getting his Alpine slowed down. Not something that they could boast in qualifying earlier today, but Matthew Hall is making the most of the jeopardy that he faces now with the penalty.
They can boast about slowing, but anyway, let's go on board with Liam Bowman and Kai Pearson and see what is happening here. And at the moment, it's 1.8 seconds. They really are catching Cameron Dowds at a rate of knots now. It's lap 22 of 29, I should say. And yeah, this race is not over yet.
It's never over until the very final lap here, because Kai Pearson and Liam Bowman, as much as they've been exceptionally working together, whether intentionally or unintentionally between two different teams, of course they had to work together in this race. They've still got to fight this out amongst themselves, haven't they? And fair play to Moba as well. It looked as if he might lose a little bit more time than he has done on the 2-lap older medium tyres. He was struggling a little bit more on the hard stint, but he's sort of got the problem sorted out from the hards, so he's doing well at this stage as well. Gap's coming down rapidly, isn't it? 1.7 seconds now. Next lap, it will be the DRS lap after we're talking about a potential overtake.
Definitely, and then it's freeway battle for the lead, and Moba just outside that as well. So it could be a 4-way battle for this one as Flotman gets past Matthew Hall and Shizou Tom has a look, but Quantum throws it up the inside, and I think he's thrown it a little bit too hard as Tom is now battling back on the way through, but he's side by side with Quantum. Quantum's recovered really quickly out of that and has got back the move on Shizou Tom.
Oh, he's just broke a bit too late there compared to Quantum. Maybe he found that Quantum broke earlier, and in doing so, Tom just exceeded the track limits on the left-hand side where you turn into the corner, and therefore his third warning, 3-second penalty. And what on earth was that? Similar sort of thing happening. He tapped Quantum in the rear. Quantum got a 3-second penalty for it, and then Tom didn't fancy even making the corner.
Interesting. Maybe there is some outlying issues. The servos, yeah, definitely not great for F1 tonight, unfortunately, as Macho gets past Risk in the final points-paying position. However, with penalties to Matthew Hall and Quantum, that could work the way up a bit higher up, as that is Jerry getting its way through as well. There's a yellow flag for someone or other as no safety car through as Shizou Tom spun it at the exit of turn 13, sorry, and I've not seen that in a long time at turn 13.
Yeah, he has indeed. It just looks like he's drifting around now. These were some big points on offer for Tom, and again, just when he has that moment, it just seems like it's over from there. I don't really know what to say about that, because I don't know what he saw from his particular POV. We know it has been different for some people tonight. Schumacher struggling at the rear of the field. He's slowing down now on 12-lap old hard tyres. He's been absolutely nowhere today. Here comes Yerry to the inside of turn 4. That's late braking. Even on the marbles, he got that car slowed down, and he's back into a points-paying position. Whether that will stand at the end of the race is a different story. And I think Schumacher is about to become our 3rd DNF in the pit lane this evening, because he's just sped. We had 6 DNFs last season, with 2 finishing the race in AI. So whatever happens, we're in a better position so far.
Definitely, and it looks like he's just throwing on a set of softs. Maybe he's going to go for a fast lap. Fair play for him to stick around, because the safety cars could still come out. That is the vital thing. And Kai and Liam Bowman have started squabbling. The gap chaser has stopped to about 1.2 seconds over the last lap and a half. And Cameron Dowds may be feeling a little bit, a bit better about that at the moment. But I'm sure they'll stop squabbling and focus on that Ferrari in a moment.
There's something quite vital that Cameron Dowds is doing at the moment, and that is the fact that he's got no battery left. He's used all of it in order to try and steer clear of having that DRS pressure for another lap. Liam Bowman goes up the inside. Did he make it within a second? By the time they reached the detection point at turn 1, I'm not sure he did, but the fact that he's got 40% more battery excuse me, oh my word, this is awful tonight. The fact that he's still got 40% more means that with any burning of that ERS, he's straight in that DRS, and that won't work in the favour of Cameron Dowds. Has he used too much too soon?
Very, very possibly. 0.8 of a second now between Liam Bowman and Cameron Dowds, and Gabor, the other Red Bull, making a mistake at turn 15. He was parked on, it showed on the map. He was standstill for a little while there, but he's managed to go through it. But yeah, leading at the moment is Cameron Dowds, but I can't imagine it's going to be for too much longer, because Liam Bowman and Kai Pearson are looking hungry for that lead.
Yeah, he tried it, didn't he? He knew that he was going to have to pit early. He knew he was going to have to get away. He did so by 7 seconds, but even when the tyres give you so much more grip with a 4-lap difference than they do around here, it was always going to be very difficult for him. Maybe he was expecting to pull away a little bit more in the first stint. Didn't quite happen for him in that 3-way fight that he ended up having with Liam Bowman and Kai Pearson, who are now on his tail into the first corner. Matthew Hall's ahead of Flotman. Another exchange between the two of them. Flotman will inherit that position with the 3-second penalty, so we won't be too bothered about that at this stage. But yeah, Bowman, he's got to go for it surely on the next lap.
Yeah, he's so close to the back end of that Ferrari as well, and he's got to do it in a way, for Liam Bowman's sake, he's got to do it in a way where he puts that Ferrari in between him and Kai Pearson to have a little bit of a roadblock.
Yeah, he can't play dirty, and he will know that he can't play dirty. He had a lot of defending to do in Austria, to be fair to him. It was up to a 4-way battle at one point back then. He would have learnt a lot from that, and his experience and his knowledge that he is in the title fight this season, based on his pace. He should really, I think, just yield. If the two get alongside him, I don't think there's going to be much hope in trying to fight for as long as he could possibly do. There'll be 3 laps to go when we cross the line. Cameron Dowds continues to lead. He started charging up some of his battery again. He's back over 10%. At least he's given himself something to try and fight with, as he really flirts with that white line on the exit. Here comes Liam Bowman. He's burning down the start-finish straight. He sees the red light flashing on the rear of the scarlet red Ferrari. Bowman's gaining. Kai Pearson's moving right. Liam Bowman's moving left. Bowman around the outside at the first corner. They're going to be wheel to wheel into 2. Cameron Dowds will squeeze his Scottish compatriot, but the traction is just too much. Kai Pearson's coming through as well. Cameron Dowds has the DRS. Oh, and he moved right there to try and cover Kai Pearson off. That could have been wing damage for Kai Pearson at the speed they hit each other at.
Yeah, very, very close. And Liam Bowman tried to split him and Kai Pearson up with the Ferrari man, but Kai Pearson was having none of it. He knows he's a wily man. He knows what to do through this as well. And Kai Pearson and Liam Bowman through the Ferrari man. Lap 27 and 29. It's getting hit. Well, it's heating back up again. Moba, bless him, just behind, is in a world of his own.
Yeah, he is. I'm sure he preferred earlier in the race when he had somebody to battle with. He does a lot of the open lobbies, the head-to-heads, as much as the 24-hour runnings of the MOBA Cup that he does on weekends sometimes. He's had a lot of experience in that game, maybe not so much driving around on his own. But to be fair to MOBA, he started off the season last time with a podium. A P4 isn't going to go too badly either. And still, potentially on for a P3 if he really gets his foot down in the final 2 laps and sees what happens with Cameron Dowds. Either way, we have a head-to-head to come between Kai Pearson and Liam Bowman, the 2 drivers that are separated by about... I can't remember how many points in the championship last season. I'm having a look. It was 6 points overall, 2 positions separating them. It's a sign for what is to come over the next 10 weeks.
It definitely is, and we are on the penultimate lap. Kai Pearson, I think, has purposely not gone for the attack on that lap to go for it this lap, to take the lead into the final lap as they head down the start-finish straight. It is very, very close. Tootie's thrown himself into the pits and retires. That is our 5th driver gone now, unfortunately, as Gabble's the man towards the back, 19 seconds away from Furious, whose strategy to go late, pit late has not worked, I don't think. There's other battles going on, but I think it will be very rude of me not to show what is, a continuation from last season. Kai Pearson and Liam Bowman, the 2 remaining championship rivals from last season, are battling away at the very first of season 17.
Indeed. Final lap to come. Kai Pearson, 1/10 difference. That is all. Going into the final braking zone at turn 14. Here comes the battery usage. Liam Bowman's got to respond. Both on around 35%. So they might well still continue this fight, even though Kai Pearson has the upper hand. Oh, Cameron Dowds went for it. That almost forced Liam Bowman back up the inside. Smart thinking there from Cameron Dowds, potentially getting the 2 of them to have a small coming together, and maybe could still inherit something rather extraordinary from this race. Up to the top of turn 4, Liam Bowman holds back. Will he go for it at turn 11? Will he go for it into turn 14? Either way, he's made a mistake, drifting around turn 4.
Yeah, it looks more like Cameron Dowds is going to make a move on those 4-lap older tyres. He's desperate. He's not given up hope yet. Other drivers may have just, gone into their shell and dropped back. And no, not for this. This man is going for it as they head down this last real straight. Is there anything Liam Bowman can throw at Kai Pearson into turn 11? I don't think there is going to be anything. So I think the last opportunity really for Liam Bowman is into turn 14 and 15. And I don't know if that's going to be enough. I think Kai Pearson has weighted his game to absolute perfection as Cameron Dowds now finally dropping away as these 2 really show what they can do. It's not going to be probably any longer, I don't think. Kai Pearson has done what he did last season to start off with the win. It's been a lot harder this time, but the heartbreak surely has not remained for him, and he is the season 17 winner for your opening round at Bahrain. What a race that has had for those 2, but Cameron Dowds as well.
Yeah, phenomenal performance by Kai Pearson, timed to absolute perfection on the final lap to take victory on the final lap. As he did so last season, he wins the season opener here in Bahrain. And massive congratulations to him as he sets out what he set out to do last season and win the title. That failed at the final hurdle, but this time he wants to be extra motivated and show why he should be the 4th different crossplay Tier 1 champion. It will be a different champion this season. Bowman staked his claim. Cameron Dowds has staked his claim, doing that slightly unorthodox strategy. Pitting early, it was a winning strategy, we mustn't forget, last season. And it almost kept him in the fight on the last lap, but it was just a little bit too much, that tyre difference for him. to not lose that 7-second gap that he pit ahead of. Fantastic drive from all of our top three today.
It certainly was. It's a great drive from all of them, and it would be difficult to say who deserved driver of the day out of the three of them, but definitely one of them deserves that. And that was an awful lot of noise coming through. I'm not sure what happened then. I think it's the fireworks from the game. It sounded like that caught me off guard. Anyway, great race between Kai Pearson and Liam Bowman. Cameron Dowds has a little bit of a cameo, but he did everything he could. Absolutely fantastic, and that is your top three. Moba in 4th place, 5th place to Flopman, 6th to Joe Murphy there is also in 7th from 19th on the grid. What a race for him. Definitely showing the Alpine team how not to go slow. Matthew Hall in 8th place after unfortunately picking up that penalty, but still crucially points for him. Macho in 9th and 10th to Quantum. Then Brando, Elite Risks, Lou and Furious and Gabor are finished in the 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th and 15th. And then non-finishes for Schumacher, Tudi, Jerry and Tom and Stonks after Tom getting caught in an issue. And I'm not sure what happened to Stonks, but yeah, not ideal for them. But wow, what a way to start the season.
Great way to start the season, and I have to say, first things first, another pretty clean example of racing in Bahrain. It's a track that a lot of the drivers like, and a lot of a track that a lot of the drivers race regularly. So that certainly does play into their hands quite a lot. But another win from the front row, Kai Pearson pipping Liam Bowman. Like we said, a battle that is bound to go the difference this season. Some pretty good battles even behind that. Matthew Hall. I'm trying to remember who was in there. Joe Murphy, Quantum. They had some pretty tough tussles between the two of them. Flopman was involved with Matthew Hall as well. Moba in a world of his own in P4. Brandox, I think, just missed out on debut points by 600ths. So a lot of small talking points, a lot of points that the drivers will be possibly regretting come the back end of the season if they didn't get what they wanted here tonight.
Definitely, and I believe we're going to have someone for the interviews, which is great for the start of the season. We always like having a chat with someone and being able to get their view on the race. And we have our race winner, Kai Pearson, with us. So, Joseph, over to you, my friend.
You've done it again. Race victory in Bahrain. Congratulations to you. Now, like I said, I know this happened last season. And I know you didn't round off the season how you wanted to last time out. You didn't leave as champion. You're hoping to do so again. But you're not drawing yourself into a false sense of security yet, are you?
No, but there's a few reasons why we didn't come out with the title. I don't really need to explain. But they're not here for this season, so I think it's going to be quite tight with Bowman throughout the whole season, to be honest.
I mean, you mentioned Bowman there, head-to-head with him, working together with him for the most part of that race as well. Just so you gave yourselves both a fighting chance at Cameron Dowds at the end. Who else do you think is going to be there or thereabouts with you this season? Because obviously Cameron Dowds did something a little bit different with that strategy. That you had other drivers at the start that, never really were able to get within DRS. Do you think that over the season there'll be a few different contenders for you?
Yeah, Cameron Downs he's a good driver, like very quick on pretty much every track. Maybe Matthew Hall if he practices a bit more than he does, because that'll be quite spicy. And then yeah, I mean, fan favourite for me. I'd love Stonks to be up there. Maybe you want.
And just a quick reaction to the calendar this season. Slightly shorter. We've cut out a race for you, but 3 street tracks on there. It's going to be a lottery at points, isn't it?
Yeah, no, completely honest. I think it's pretty shit, but we'll still drive it. Jeddah next week, so I know Bowman on the pad. He's not going to be that up to pace. Yeah, interesting calendar.
I'll hand it back to Gareth.
Yeah, Kai, obviously, there will be lots of talks of last season, but you've come back this season and you've not let that affect you. You've had a great race. How obviously you qualified better than you did, well, time wise better, but what did you think when Liam Bowman threw that time up?
To be honest, like I practiced with him a bit. I know like he'd easily have that time in him. I lost quite a lot on my lap, to be fair, but as long as I was in like the top 4, I knew I had a bit of a chance to win, to be honest. 'Cause, the DRS is quite powerful and it's still overtaken at Bahrain with lots of mix-up in strategies.
And Cameron Dowds, did your strategy from last season starting on those softs? Was there any point when you thought you were going to start on the softs for this race?
No, it was hard all the way. I also knew that Cameron's strategy wasn't going to work that well because he didn't gap in the first stint and we was pretty much with him when he pit. And the overcut's pretty strong at Bahrain.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Kai Pearson, for sticking with us. Good luck for the remainder of the season. And, well, you're championship leader again in Tier 1. And, well, for you, long may it continue.
Thanks, lads.
Now, we do have another one as well. Let's get Cameron Dowds in here. Joseph, back to you.
Cameron, P3 for you this evening. That's your second podium now in WOR Tier 1, racing from the start this time around. What's on your mind for the season? Of course, you led so many laps in tonight's race. Do you see yourself as a championship contender?
Maybe. I mean, the likes of Kai and Liam are absolutely rapid, so I think Kai and Liam, especially Kai, I think he's quicker than me, but I'll see what I can do. Yeah, today was a good race. The quality was definitely not the best. My PB was a low 3, so a high 4 was definitely not what I wanted. But the softs I think Tom used a lot of his battery at the start, and then he ended up making a massive mistake. So that put him in a vulnerable place. And then when I forgot what happened. I think he just got overtaken and then he just fell backwards. And then from then on, it was just me on my own on the soft. So it just made it naturally more difficult. But after the pit stops, it was, I knew it was going to be like a big advantage. But like it was like 3 times a corner that Kai and Liam was catching me. So it was pretty crazy. I don't know if I made a mistake. I was trying to figure out in my head whether to save up my battery so to not delay the inevitable and be able to fight with them, or to just gun it and go all or nothing, which I ended up doing, which put me in a bit more vulnerable of a position, especially if I had maybe 10% more ERS at the end there. I think I would have been able to challenge Liam into turn 1 because I was really close, but I was just a tiny bit too far back to make a lunge. But yeah, it was a good race. I'm happy with P3. I think maybe I could have got more, but it's easier to lose when you're against rapid people like this. So yeah.
Yeah, just talk us through the strategy call at the start. 'Cause obviously you went softs, you went opposite. What was the sort of motive behind that? Did you sort of see it as a winner from maybe last season, from your own experience as well in Tier 2 last season?
Yeah, I thought the softs would be, especially when you've got someone to do it with. I thought the softs would be a good option, but I think the battling at the start, which was smart of the others, it didn't really help. Because then the tyres were a little bit cooked, and then you have to use more battery, and then it just didn't really work out very well, especially after Tom made that mistake, and then he ended up falling back, and I was just all by myself. So it wasn't the best strategy call, but it was bold, and we called it, and it worked out fine for me, but not so much for Tom.
Yeah, absolutely. Gareth?
What a start to the season for you, Cameron. Were you expecting a podium at the start of this race?
I think so. Yeah, I was expecting at least a top 5. I knew I had good race pace around here. Quality pace was okay. So yeah, I was hoping for a podium and I was expecting a top 5. But yeah, a P3 is fine because I'm still in a fighting position. It's put me in a fighting position for the next races to come. So yeah.
And obviously calendar, we got Kai's Pearson of the calendar. He doesn't seem to be a fan. But yourself, what's your thoughts on the calendar for the season?
I've not even looked at it. I'll have to check after this. What's the next race?
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi.
I've not driven it on this game, but it's a decent track, I think.
Fair enough. Well, thank you for stopping by and chatting to both Joseph and I. Good luck for the season, and hopefully see you in the podium interviews more often.
Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. There we go, Joseph. What a way to start season 17. What more could we have asked for?
Not a lot, really. It sets the tone. I mean, last season set the tone as well, really, didn't it? And yes, it was. It became a head-to-head at the front. Kai and Nick. Nick moved on to pastures new, so that won't happen with Liam Bowman. That's for sure. But yeah, very similar, in fact. Just bar, again, what Cameron alluded to. If Tom didn't make that early mistake, yeah, they would have got away a bit more. Then it's a completely different race. So. Maybe Tom, just don't go wide next time.
Fantastic. Well, that has been the season 17 opener for Console Tier 1. It has been a cracker of a race. It's one that we always want to start with, and it's always been a great one here in Bahrain in recent years, recent seasons, I should say. But the action doesn't stop there. The PC side of things come back on, as well as all the other tiers next Thursday. It has been a great race. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you to everyone who took part tonight. It has been insane, and we will catch you in the next one.